All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday, my fellow truckers. Just getting started right here. Give me 1 second. Here we go. All right, getting this going. As always, welcome, welcome. My name is Christian with Super Trucker Podcast, and what we got going on today is going to be reviewing some comments. It's open for additional comments as we're live, so please post them up, and we'll get them answered. And they're going to be challenging ones. They're not all easy, but again, this is about putting good information in front of good people. So before we actually get started, we're going to give an opportunity for people to gather around and join us. That way a lot more people benefit from the podcast. All right, anybody out there? If you are, let us know where you at today. Where are you delivering? Or where are you picking up? And what's the plan? Are you on track to make your financial goals for this week? All right, just give a few seconds. Good morning, Diva. How you doing today? Let's see how I can respond with this real quick. Sorry about that. I clear my throat. All right, guys. So once again, my name is Christian with Super Trucker Podcast, and what we're doing here is we're putting all trucking information. That's what we talk about. We talk trucking, and this holds great value to a lot of people who are going to be first-time owner operators, or or even seasoned individuals as well. But those first-time owner operators, guys, it's a place where you have a wealth of information. You gotta, watch our programs. Head over to that Super Trucker Podcast channel on YouTube. Plenty of videos there for you to study that, get some information, take what serves you, and that, my friend, will make you stronger at the game so you can win the game called trucking. So you definitely have to check us out. For other people, as you're joining, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It keeps the videos coming, and it holds more value to, and it helps get it in front of other truckers that are out there and that can use this type of information. All right, let's give it a few more minutes and we'll get started. What's up? Stay loaded. Here we go. I like the concept. Welcome. Here we go. Man, it's also Tuesday. I wonder how many of you guys are actually out there barely starting your week today. I just put in the comments if today's your first day out. How do you think that's going to affect you financially? Was it due to a breakdown, or you got a bit, or you got a plan? It's always interesting to find out things of that nature and how other people do it, and how you're going to resolve an issue to make sure that you're hitting your financial goals at the end of the week. So as we gather around, guys, make sure content like this, share it with another trucker, put it in front of them because I'm sure it'll help. Like, share, smash that, get that subscription in there so that you guys get these videos in front of you, and head over to that Super Trucker podcast channel in order to get all this information in front of you. All right, so some of the comments that we're going to be reviewing today, they're just going to be taken cut and paste, baby. That's all they got done is just cut and paste. And we'll review them and we will answer them honestly. So here we go. So we just got to give it a couple more minutes, my people, and then we'll get this party started. Anybody joining? Where you guys from? I see a New York join. So is that you down in Florida? You up in New York? Just transplant or what the deal? What's the deal there? And don't forget, guys, please also share this live so that maybe there's somebody out there that doesn't know it's going down, and you just got to make them aware of it so they can too benefit from this, and actually maybe even put a couple comments and get a couple questions answered. So it'll benefit everybody. All right, we're looking to get started in just a little bit here. All right. All right, my people. So let's go. It's time to get started. We got people joining as we're going along. Remember, for those who just joined, we're going to be reviewing some comments and handling them and answering them honestly, and so that people can have some clarity as to how we do business or even just things in the comments. So it should be a good time. Let's rock and roll. And remember, these are on the rougher end, some of them. So let's go. So I think the first one right here, right out the gate, oh man, it's go time. So here we go. Uh, Here's the comment. Number one that we have to review today is, why the fuck would I let some dispatcher tell me what I can book? All right, cool. So part of that is going to be because they actually might be pretty good at it. So here's what you have to think about in a situation like that, man. Put that ego down real quick. Not all dispatchers are built equal. So you're actually empowering an individual to help move your business along. You just got to look at it a little bit different, right? And again, you have to have a good dispatcher. Mind it, it's not just anybody. More power to the people that are getting experience out there, that are taking those dispatcher courses and all of that. You don't want that person that just got their online diploma for that dispatching you. They need to get a little bit more experience and a little bit seasoned. But you're looking for that guy that is studying the market, posting your truck in different markets, has more than one truck. And the reason he's doing that is so that he can actually see what the market's doing, right? So imagine this, right? How do you know the rates are good out of let's say Texas, or how do you know they're good out of Chicago, or whatever the case may be? It's only if you're doing some homework. You got to be banging out phone calls. That's what these dispatchers are out here doing, banging out the phone calls and getting a feel for it. It's not just some fancy DAT spreadsheet, what market's hot and what market's not. I mean, you actually have to be making those phone calls. And so you have a good idea of where this truck should be going, and holistically for the whole week, not just right now, man. You can't keep your eyes on the ball and just kick the ball. You have to be able to forward think, or that dispatcher has to be able to forward think, so that he knows where you're going to be placed already by Friday morning, because that weekend load delivering Monday is going to bring it home for you. So that is why you should let that guy dispatch you, because now you got another individual working for your gains. All right. Yeah, he's gonna get paid a percentage. Obviously, ain't nothing for free, but he's getting a percentage of it. So the more you make, the more he makes. So a person with self-discipline and dedication to their craft absolutely can help improve your business. You just got to let it happen, brother. All right. So all right, here we go. You're taking 25% to sit on your ass. Not really. So here it is, guys. There's a cost to do business all the time, and anything that you do. But 25% here at Voyager is going to give you a lot. We got a recruiter on standby, by the way. If you want real details on it, it's 863-342-5171. Give them a call. She'll be happy to explain the entire program to you. But the 25% is going to cover your cargo, the liability. You got to provide a trailer. You got fuel cards, two of them, with savings that 100% of that savings is going to be pushed along to you. You got a billing team, safety and compliance, dispatcher. trailer mechanic on site, a place to park your truck at no charge every time you're 34ing. So here in Florida, obviously. So all of that comes at a cost, my man. So that is what you're getting. And you're getting these individuals that are pushing the limits for you to ensure that you're making the most money as possible, hitting your goals while getting your home time. All right, so not just sitting on our ass, man. There's a lot going on, and all of those things we offer cost money. Um, and so there you go. So I encourage you to, just because another location or another carrier might offer you a less percentage, we pride ourselves on that transparency. It's our settlement is simplistic, and you're going to actually see it right away. So that's why we charge 25%, because the product we have is pretty badass. All right. Why don't you just admit carriers rob drivers blind? Eh, eh, I- Man, I don't think it's about that. I think perhaps you had one couple bad experiences, perhaps, and now you have now you're kind of burnt on that. But not everybody is out there to do poor business practices. At least we are not. And I know a couple people in the game that they're not out there to rob drivers blind. That's not what this is about. This is actually about trucking. This is actually just about freight. This is about moving the truck. This is about you improving your business. This is about, remember, percentage. 20, like we said before, 25%. So 25% of zero is zero, right? And but remember, after that 25%, there's a cost. Trucking is a very expensive game to play. So no one's robbing anyone blind. Remember, you got to make sure that you're in an environment where you get what you're worth. You got to surround yourself by those individuals that are gonna help move your business forward and understand the big picture. So no one is robbing anybody. It's a collaboration between the effort of the carrier and also the effort of the owner operator, where you're willing to go. How many miles can you do? Three, four, five, six, 700 a day. Everybody's a beast. Everybody's a beast until it's time to go to work, but we're not all equal, man. Everybody runs a little bit different. So we got, so that means they're going to make different. People are willing to go to different places. Man, some people can't even show up on time, right? So I'm not saying that that's completely a bad thing, but again, it's going to be about, finding those specific loads that are going to work for that individual. Where now it could be open window, it could be an open window pickup and delivery. So that's another good plan right there for a guy like that, right? You can't just change him and make him show up on time, or do put him on my lap, you know, have him learn. So it's a balance, man. It's know your crowd. So anyway, all right, that's that one right there, my people. Uh, what makes you think that you're better than the last clown that who scammed me? Again, because we have a transparent product that can hit, and there are people who are successful here, and the plan is working. So all you got to do is follow the protocol, and you will be winning too. Um, Not exactly sure what you mean by scammed. So if somebody could put it in the comments, how did they actually scam you, man? I really want to know. Uh, I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying you're right. I just don't know enough about the situation, of what transpired. So I would like to know how you got scammed. But for us here, why we're better is because of our product, our pay package. And again, give the recruiter a call, 863 She's on standby. And not just that, if you want to talk to me directly, we can link up right after this live stream, and we can handle that. All right. Uh, if your rates are so good, why aren't you a billionaire? All right, man. For the same reason you're not. Because, I actually heard once, how do you make $1 million in trucking? You actually start with 2 million. So it's once again, it's a penny business. Like, a lot of people don't understand that, especially my first time owner operators to be in here. Like, this is a penny business. It's an expensive sport. You may see a lot of gross on the numbers, but there is a heavy expense to run these types of businesses. So there's insurance, and that's the biggest one, man. Insurance, there's repairs, fuel, so many things that go behind the scenes in order to keep a trucking company running. So again, like looking to be a billion, like man, you're not to become a billionaire in trucking. Man, you got to be a mega carrier at that point. But again, it's a good way to earn a living for your family. There's plenty of money on the table. So I always say this. So even though you haven't become that billionaire just yet, uh, the reason you don't see a mass exodus of trucking voluntarily, right? I'm not talking about like right now when they put like the English proficiency test and all that stuff. I'm talking about people not people not leaving voluntarily or find themselves coming back. Because let's say, a solid dude, no problem, man. Let's just say that he's clocking in, close to 200, no problem, right? We're just giving averages. Where can you, put the keys down and go get a job like that real quick, right? And just earn that income. You would be there and you would be staying there. So this isn't only just a place of where you have some freedom. It actually can give you a decent living. So a lot of guys pay attention to that. Not necessarily you're going to be a billionaire with one truck, but you can live a very comfortable life. And so here we go. How much money goes in your pocket? All right, man. So this is my number one rule: never count another man's money. You don't have to be in somebody else's pocket. Even though, yes, up front, I'm getting 25%, but out of that 25%, just so you know, you got to pay dispatchers, you got building, you got insurance, you got trailers, you got staff, you have incidentals. There's taxes, there is lights. Man, there is so much that goes on in trucking that I don't I don't necessarily, how far can 25% go? So guys, like I do have a cost. It's not like, that is just 25%, and that's that pure profit number. Just like your business has cost, so does this business as well. Okay. Um, you ever actually driven a truck or just push paper? Nah, I drove something small locally for some time, but again, just doing different type of. I'm in the business just from a different type of angle. But yeah, very well rounded from final mile to containers to everything that you can name it. From exactly that, from anything coming off of a cargo ship all the way to final mile delivery to parcels. So I've done it all. Expertise, I guess, has always been around owner operators. So that's always been that's been my come up. So here we go. Why do you guys lie about no force dispatch, then threaten to fire people? All right. So I guess the best way I can answer this one, right, is going to be all right. There's not going to be a forced dispatch. However, look, we're in a business partnership. So the only way anybody is going to make money in this partnership is by you delivering a load. That's the only way your business will generate revenue. So by holding your truck hostage because you're just somehow uncomfortable with the rates that the market is providing, right? So you holding my trailer along with your truck sta- at a standstill generates no money, and so that trailer still has a cost. That trailer has a cost. Having you on the insurance has a cost. um having personnel account for the whereabouts of everything. So operationally, there is still a cost for that carrier, even though you think that leaving is a better idea. So that is why just not taking a load isn't going to be the best idea. So that's the answer for the no force dispatch. How do I put it there? Like at some point, it's no longer good business for us. So any truck that's not going to be moving, no longer it becomes more of a liability. So if you're in that position where you're saying it's my truck, I don't want to move it, and you don't want people arguing with you about that, at that point you're better off doing your own authority and all of that because no one's going to bother you in regards to you not moving your truck. The only phone calls you're really going to get is at the end of the month when the insurance is due, trailer payments due, and everybody's trying to get paid, factoring and all that good stuff. So that would be the best way in order for you not to have those challenges. All right. Other than that, everybody else is going to say you have to get dispatched because that is how we generate revenue. Okay. What's your plan when the spot market completely crashes? We show up. It's what we do. It's what we know how to do. Trucking. So good market, bad market, doesn't matter. The discipline behind keeping the wheels turning and staying open is the key to success. There's going to be good times. There's going to be bad times. It's a volatile business, just like anywhere else. But you have to stay the course. That's number one. So we show up. Okay. Why do you even need dispatchers if the load board is so easy? Um, because it's not that easy. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. You're gonna have different types of dispatchers. All right, so you're gonna have a dispatcher that kind of puts the parameters, searches the board, finds a couple loads, and calls you. Right? Did they do their job? Yeah, but not really, because what in a situation like that, what's not really happening is the negotiating with a broker. You know, you have to have some tenacity. You got to have some balls to argue with them and get more money for that load. So that in itself is an art. It's not for everybody. Not everybody is the extrovert. Not everybody can have a hard conversation. Not everybody can influence. Somebody to pay you more money and have that savviness and cunningness. Remember, those brokers are just as good at this game as we are. You have to understand that. And so you got to when you show up to the dance, you better be ready to party because you have to be willing to walk away from that load so that and search for another one in order to get the max amount of money. So that is why you should have a dispatcher because can you do trucking, drive safely, do the 14 hours, 11, keep everything doing all that plus being this guy? I mean, there's a career for it. It's a standalone career. A dispatcher is a standalone career, and in our industry, even I would say like 10, 15 trucks. A solid dude is 15 to 18. So it's very different this spot market than you would to like customer freight. A customer freight, that type of dispatcher, we call them like a load planner. They could bang out 50, 60, 70 trucks because you're just kind of moving the same freight around. You're not really negotiating a lot of work. It's just two separate entities. For this side of the market, what we do here, it's a lot more detailed, it's a lot more intimate, especially when you're leased onto the carrier. Because remember, even if you get put out of service or you get a violation, right? As a matter of fact, I got one on my desk somewhere right here. I don't know where it went, but I have it. The guy parks at an empty lot. Here we go. Guy is parking at an empty lot. Yada yada. It's not his problem. It's not his problem. Or I mean, it's not our problem. It's his truck. He can park wherever he want, and then I get the citation. So a lot of the behavior that happens is you got to know that everything that you do out there is going to affect the carrier as well. So balancing all of that is the job of that type of dispatcher. So that is why it's not as easy as it looks until you start to do it. And I would say it's the reverse, man. I'm not just talking shit. Being over the road is not as easy as it looks. Look, until someone gets in there and starts sleeping at truck stops and eating at truck stops and being away from family, yeah, everything looks easy and gravy because you may want what they have, but do you have what it takes to go get it? So everything is like that. It doesn't, anything, especially when somebody is really good and efficient at their job, they make it look easy. And that's good for them, but for the person looking on, sometimes might be biting off a little bit more than they can chew. All right. Uh, why not show us the real Raycon? Are you hiding something? Nah, I don't know why they comment that. We definitely always give the original Raycon. As a matter of fact, once the dispatcher is before they even sign the Raycon, they're going to review it. They're going to look for predatory stipulations in there. They can be super aggressive at times. $50 a day fee for not calling in. But they're also tracking, so you're on macro point, and $200 for not using that plus calling in. So, and the list can go on and on. So we cover that with the owner operators. Sometimes there's stipulations of like, hey, you cannot get any detention on this load because of the amount that it's paying. So it will get reviewed with you before we even sign it. And once it is signed, it does get forward right to our owner operators. So for us, this is a non-problem. Every Raycon here looks a little bit different because all brokers send them different. So for me, that's an easy question to answer. How do you sleep at night stealing 25%? All right, cool. Because nobody is stealing 25%. All right. I think you're kind of viewing it bad, kind of backwards. You gotta be looking at it that you're getting 75%, right? So you're getting the majority of this, actually 75% of it. And the 25%, the reason I could sleep is because I know that this product is set up for you to win. So there's no doubt in my mind that that is a more than fair uh, opportunity right there. So I encourage everybody to give us a call, especially the recruiting department. Give her a call. It's 863-342-5171. And before you start counting the 25%, make sure you understand what comes with that, because that's the important part. No hidden fees, no hidden agendas, nothing like that. It's kind of like, just think about it this way. Let's say there's somebody else out there offering a package that is, like 10%. That's all you got to give up. You get 90% of the load. All right. So all my people with trucks right now, current trucks, right? Can you take a load for $1,000 and pay your driver, $900, and with $100 you can run your business? And more than likely, the answer is going to be no. So just from a business standpoint, it's not conducive to do business. So if you wouldn't do it, how can you expect another person to do it for you? So come on, like, let's wake up a little bit. There is a cost to do business. And before you start counting that 25%, ask yourself, what do I get? Is there additional cost? And then we can talk. So I sleep like a baby. That's not a problem. Uh, why should I trust any company promising home time? Um, why should I trust any company promising home time? Uh, Here's how we do it. You pick your home time. All right. As long as you're accountable for one major thing, you're accountable for, the concept behind that is the more you want to see the house, cool, not a problem. But that will come to you as a price as a business owner. As a business owner, that has a cost, right? And so it depends. That cost will be different for everybody. And what I mean by that is, I got people who live in Georgia. So that cost is not the same when it's a good market. That's not the same as a guy who lives in Lakeland, because on Monday morning, what are you doing? He's getting out of Florida. So those challenges are going to be real no matter what. Somebody will have that same cost if he lives in Colorado. What comes out of Colorado, Nevada? So these little pockets of of um, of outbound freight that aren't in your favor, has a price, man. Like, so you always have to consider that. Home time is not a thing for us because my dispatchers are going to book the loads around your home time. We're going to respect that, not a problem. That's 100% hands down. We got your back. But what does have to happen is, uh, until it's time to go home, we get in it. Everything should be on the table. That is where the magic happens. We need to be worried about that and being efficient during that time, so that that home time, when you're going home, not only are you going home on time, you're actually making really good money, and then you're home with a pocket full of money and get some quality time with the family. So that's the reasoning behind that, guys. So yeah, you should trust us. Here we go. Uh, if your company's so good, why do drivers quit? Um, okay, so this one is pretty. The answer is a little deeper than you would think, because what's going to happen is, number one, we all have to understand that things change. People change, thoughts change, entrepreneurial spirits sometimes look for change. even though there's a good thing going on, the natural law of order of things, you want to actually improve your situation. So the guy might start up his own authority and go ahead and do that. So people leave for that. Some people are retiring. We actually had two guys this year retire after spending long time with us, over 8 years, man. So that's important. Some people are health. Um, but I think the overall turnover rate in this industry is pretty high, is going to be because people jump into it by not really doing their homework or not really being exposed to the reality of trucking. So what happens? Look, it looks easier than it is, and then they get settled in, and then the accountability starts to settle in. And now you're not just in love with the idea of doing something, you're actually in it, and it's time to do it. And so that right there scares a lot of people. Remember, everybody wants to be successful, but it takes a certain character to be in order to handle the responsibilities of maintaining that success. So that is why a lot of people quit, because they thought it was a lot easier. Like, so think about it. So if somebody is quitting because of one bad business interaction with a dispatcher, if that's enough for you to close your business, you're in the wrong business. You have to be able to understand that this is about relationships. This is about things that you cannot control. And so the hyper focus should be on the things that you can control, which is going to be, staying dedicated, staying persistent, staying open, making sure that you're making that money. That is your main goal at whatever cost. So you just kind of got to put those blinders on to say, all right, my business requires this amount of money every single week. I got to go get it. And there are going to be weeks that you make more, and there are going to be weeks that you made a little less. But at the end of the day, you're averaging out a steady cash flow that allows you to make things happen. And the longer you can do that for and stay with it, then at that point, you're actually going to see improvement. You're actually going to see some cash flow coming into the business. Now you actually can do some decision making, because once you have resources, the way you resolve problems is different. You're not coming from a place of lack. You actually have that financial backing provided by yourself, so your formula is working, and now you can pivot, and now your decision making looks a lot different than if you're in a place of lack, and desperation kind of sets into the mind, and you just want it to happen faster than you thought it was going to happen, and you find yourself job hopping, but never really settling in and giving your business traction. So just imagine that, man. Like, you start a food truck. You're there for a week, one weekend, and nobody kind of showed up because they don't really know you're there. You're like, ah, man, this is all bullshit. And then you quit and you find a different corner, and you never built stability. You never grew that clientele. You never gave it a chance. So this is just like any other industry, any other business. You have to stick with it. You have to grind it out. And once you decide, I mean, you really decided. So the drivers are going to quit no matter what. That's just kind of like this business has become that. Uh, um, you know, on both sides of the fence. So there's that. Remember, guys, please put this information in front of fellow truckers. It will benefit them. Maybe give them a different bird eye view to what trucking can actually do for them. So, like, share, subscribe, and send them over to Super Trucker Podcast. Tons of videos there. Tons of information for them to develop themselves and their business. All right, guys. Why does every dispatcher think they're smarter than the driver? I don't necessarily think it's that. I just think that their job function is different, right? We first have to identify that. So a dispatcher's job, his function is different. He's dispatching, you're driving. You're an owner operator, you're running a business. So you got two separate careers in the same industry. And we have to give, pardon me, we have to understand that it's not coming from that egotistical place for the most part. At least my guys here. I can't speak of where you're probably running or anything like that. But for the majority, it's not that he's smarter. He's actually invested daily in understanding the market. if one of our dispatchers goes on vacation, yeah, we allow them to go on vacation, guys. So, and when they do come back after that week, it takes a minute to get their feet wet, man. It's going to be plugging, calling, posting a truck, understanding the market to kind of get back into the rhythm of things. So if that dispatcher, what if he's commenting to you that he doesn't think your plan is as good as his, I hope it's I hope it's backed by that dispatcher. I hope it's backed by some research. Just like our guys, they're invested. They got contacts with brokers. In those relationships, we'll get into that in a little bit. Those relationships are actually they're not one-sided. We never forget that they are just as good at this game uh, they're just as good at this as we are. So what's going to happen is it doesn't mean you just owe the guy a truck at whatever rate. That's not what the relationship's about. It's going to be a quality truck at market value, obviously, or more. So that's it. So even if I don't accept that load because I don't think it's paying enough, I still have enough relationship with the individual to offer him a truck tomorrow. We can do business tomorrow, even though we did not do business today. And so sometimes you're going to be in a position where you have a less than desirable load. And if the dispatcher is telling you we should be moving now, then we should be moving now. So for example, I want to say, I'll say about a week ago, something like that. We had an individual early morning, actually got unloaded early, and we were giving them, I forget the miles and the details. I know he was going to Carolina though. So giving them 1,300, you know, right to Carolina. So then from Carolina, get the banger load down to Florida, and he would be home for the weekend, 34, the whole 9 yards. Easy. The driver kind of fights back a little bit. All right, cool. So, he didn't want it. He didn't want it. All day looking, let's say, right? Wasting time. A couple hours go by, only to end up in the same place, 1,300. And for what? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, just because you're sitting there and you're not the one searching and wasting those 3 hours. Remember, the dispatcher is going to have more trucks. The dispatcher is thinking efficiency. The dispatcher is like, I know this market. Now let's get this pick up and go. Hours of service. You're on the clock. Now you would have had an extra load between tomorrow's pickup because we had an opportunity that we can do. All right. So that's the important part. It's not that he's smarter than you, it's just that from his chair, I think he sees different opportunities that are on the table. And so it gets digested differently. And maybe in that rush of making sure that you're getting the money and seeing that opportunity, and he has maybe a little bit of trouble explaining the entire thing to you. But he done called 40 phone calls already. He knows that that's the best because of what everybody else is offering. He knows the time is going to work. He knows what tomorrow's pickup is going to look. So he's considering all these factors into why he's telling you that he thinks his idea is better. So again, I don't know if your dispatcher operates that way and he flows that way, but in the event he doesn't, you got to give us a call. It's 863-342-5171. And if you're in this Florida area, come through, my man. Sit down with my dispatcher. Sit down with the ops manager in that room. You can ride side saddle with him for a little bit. By 5 minutes in the building whether it'll be a good fit or not. So the invite is there. All right. You ever tell a broker you do it cheaper? Absolutely not. And that kind of talk sounds like dedicated lanes to me, man. Like lowest bidder gets awarded the work. So there's always something different that you can do. Never do it cheaper, guys. Remember, that's not what relationships about. So the relationships are you have to understand this. These guys have loads and we have trucks. We're gonna do business with somebody. I don't know who just yet, but the guy that's paying the best is who, highest bidders who we're gonna do business with. Now, sometimes you go to different markets that those markets aren't the best, but you went there with an understanding. And so in that understanding, that load may not look identical to the one that got you to that market, but nevertheless, outbound going, that reload is the best of the best of what's around there. So it's just strategy, playing chess, but never, your guy should never be telling any type of broker that they'll do it for cheaper just so that they could get another one next week. Nah, man, he's hey, you definitely need to look for a better dispatcher. And I got one for you. So make sure you give us a call. All right. If I say no to a load, will you starve me out? No, not at all. That's not what this is about. Remember, like saying no to a load, it's trucking, guys. This is gonna happen. It's not about having that control over anybody. Like, don't get it twisted. It's not about that. And there's no value into starving a guy out. Like honestly, here, man, I would tell a guy, "Give me my trailer. Thank you for the opportunity. I just don't think our businesses align. Have a good one." There's why die a slow death. Starving someone out would just cost money, like for both parties. Like that's just inefficiency to me. But what drums the question is what happened that you're so scared that you can't say no to a load? Like I believe you're not trusting your dispatcher. I believe there's something broken there because the sweetest place that you can be is where that dispatcher is actually booking loads without even really asking you. So I mean, you're having conversations, but he understands how you flow, how you operate, what you're capable of. And so and your money's tight. So now you're trusting that individual to be doing that. But just for those guys that think that telling your dispatcher no on the very first load they offer you is a way to manage trucking, you're incorrect. That is not the way to manage trucking. What's really going to happen is when that does happen and your dispatcher comes back with another load, you think like, yeah, see, I pressed him. But maybe your guy is just not is just ineffective because that load was always there. He should have found it on his first go around. That's what my guys are doing. They're finding that load on the first go around because of the way they search for loads. So for us, it's different. For that individual that you're probably like, all right, so you conditioned yourself that you tell this guy no because, you know, that gives him pressure. Now he got that pressure. He's in panic mode. He goes look for more, and you had to scare him, right? In order to put the pressure on him in order to find a better load. So that's kind of exhausting. You really want to put people who can hit up to bat. So that's the way we do that. But no, I wouldn't starve anybody out. That's just kind of nonsense to me. That doesn't. But again, I'm not gonna sit here and have my team look for something that doesn't exist. They're gonna bring valuable options to you as early as possible, so that you can keep moving and keep earning. So that's what that's about. All right. All right. Because again, guys, starving someone out, man. Like going back to my man who was worried about my 25%. 25% of zero is zero. What am I doing? So I would. It's not a good place to be. All right. So, do you even give a shit if your drivers fail? Yes, we do. I mean, we even give a shit if drivers are failing out in the industry. If you haven't noticed, check out the Super Trucker Podcast channel. Check out all the valuable information that's there. Things that we don't have to put up there, but we put it up there so guys could get educated. There are even guys that come here to our location, gather some information about plates, if does, insurance, give them resources to get access to all that good stuff. You know, so there's a tons of info that we're giving out there because this industry can be better. Here's the problem: you got drivers, you got carriers that burn drivers, but drivers burn carriers. So now nobody trusts each other. And so the name of the game now becomes, how do I know I can trust you? Right. And so this defense is up. Meanwhile, if we could just align and trust each other a little bit and go against that broker and get the money where the money exists, that's where the money's at. So again, like it, that's why we even have our show. Like, check it out, the content, at least the purchase programs. It tells you, not all of them are gravy. Kind of, I don't even believe in at least the purchase program offered by a carrier, and I wouldn't want to be offering it because it wouldn't be in your favor, right? That's my truck. That you cannot take that truck somewhere else. So why would I buy you a truck? You will be forced to keep that truck here. You will be forced to pay for it weekly. And so I don't believe in that, but we do believe in third party leases where now you can move your truck to wherever you want. It's one monthly payment set in stone, very reasonable for a reasonable amount of time. We have seen it work. We have engaged with owner operators, guys who work here and guys who don't. And because we see it work, we spread the word. So that is out there so that guys can be successful. As a matter of fact, we even put the content up there, guys, that you don't necessarily have to have 50K in the back to start doing this, right? You don't need 50 G's to start. You can get started with probably as little as 7,000. But if you have the bite and you have the hunger and the will, man, and you will, and you're willing to dedicate your skill set, you can make it. So we put all of this out there, and we wouldn't be doing that if there was some kind of glory out of watching people fail. So that's not what we're about. Um, so if you're in that environment where I guess there's some kind of value to that for them to watch you guys fail, then you definitely need to change your circle, man, and surround yourself with winners. And this is me extending that courtesy to you. Hey, invite, come on in, man. Give us a call, 863-342-5171. I'm definite I can improve your situation. All right. You're going to tell us all your company policies or just the ones that sound good? No. So we just did a live about orientations just the other day. What we're doing here is we will tell you about all the company policies. We will hyper focus on the ones that are most important. Obviously, they're all important. That's why there's a policy. But there are certain ones that come up more often than not because you'll see it more in your day-to-day operation. So yeah, we're very transparent on that. In orientation, we're going to cover that. You meet a member from our team from every department, and they will cover their policies, and they will hyper focus on the ones that are going to make you successful. So the design to that was basically this, right? What are the biggest problems that operation sees? Cool. They're going to give you a nice little list. Then that is what you should be talking about in that orientation, because obviously it's a place where we need some improvement, right? Everybody can improve a little bit. Okay, cool. Billing department. What is the majority of the problems you're currently having now? Okay. Is there a policy for that? Yes, there is. So if it's not being followed to the T, then we're going to hyper focus on that on the orientation. And what you should be doing is as you're rectifying or improving the situation of the guys that are currently here, you're not compounding your problem because the new guys coming in have now understand it a little bit better, know what to expect, and it's always improvement. And trust me, it's a moving target because uh, talk to me in 6 months, and the company policy focus point is going to be a little bit different. So welcome to trucking. That's how it goes. All right. All right, my people, make sure you guys share this, like, subscribe. It keeps the content flowing. And if there are any type of topics that you guys would like to see us cover, whether it's operational, educational, or whatever the situation may be, please put them there so we can get to them and get you and get you some answers. All right. All right. Uh, easy to tell people to hustle from your office chair, huh? Um, it's not quite like that, man. So, a couple things. Um, eh, what happens is a hustle's a hustle, right? Everything is work. Whether you're working from a chair or inside a truck or driving a forklift or anything like that, everything is a hustle. Everybody is making a sacrifice in order to provide good work. But the key is good work. So if you're busy watching and kind of upset a little bit that somebody else is viewing it that way, maybe you're in the wrong hustle. Like that's the thing, man. Like, so one of the things is, man, you got to be at peace with what you're doing. So once you're at peace there, you're worrying less about others. You can focus on yourself and improving your current situation. I mean, it's just a mind frame. The rates don't even have to get better, right? Your dispatcher doesn't even have to get better. Your compliance team doesn't even have to get better. Your truck doesn't have to look prettier. all it takes is your mind frame and the way you're looking at your situation to improve your situation. You just gotta look in that mirror, brother man, and focus on yourself and focus on, how can I level up my business? What can I do? What do I control? What do I not? And once you're looking at that, it's the same problems, but what becomes clear are your solutions. The solutions that were always there, but because you were a little bit foggy, and not in the right mind frame, they weren't accessible to you, but the answers have always been there. I mean, just look at it. If you have an individual, right, that is being successful, he's buying a trailer. He bought a truck, he bought another truck, he bought a trailer, he's leveling up his business. It is so easy to talk shit about my man and how he got that, but at the same time, we can't deny the fact that he's doing that. So he got it done in the exact same market that we are all in. It don't matter whose chair you're sitting in. It don't matter what type of hustle you're providing, weak, strong. He is in the same exact market, and he was able to get it done. So the idea behind that is like, how did he get this done? Where was his mindset from? What was he paying attention to? What does he hold valuable? And what are some of the problems that don't even phase him? My man just walks right by because it's not in his control. So he's very particular to where he puts energy. So that's that, man. Like, everybody got to grind, man. So, but nevertheless, it ain't that somebody's working less than you. It's just in a different fashion. All right. Uh, why don't you shut up and get behind the wheel? Okay, and what's that supposed to prove? Here we go, man. Like, all right, how do you answer something like this? Like, here's the problem, bro. We all choose a career path. All right, so that's it. So you just gotta do whatever career path you chose. Again, going back to that, you just got to give that 100% and really give it an opportunity. But you know, usually, because you're seeing somebody else excel at something, and that's the first, like, that kind of comment, you got a problem with the way you're running your business, man. Because I'm like, dogs, I'm hiring, you can actually put your resume in, and if a guy gets in here, uh can you provide the same type of work, man? It's not about who is where. It is about what you bring to the table and where your strong points are. So, I say it all the time, man. Just because it's been 20 years in the game, it doesn't mean that I can just go outside and back a trailer to a bay door, right? It doesn't mean I'm a great driver, right? I need a learning curve. I need the ability to practice. You got to give me a minute. I'm pretty sure I can do it, do it with the best of them, but you gotta give me that minute. So if that is true, then it is the same as, like, just because I put you into this office, slide up to, turn on the two monitors, you're not gonna start dispatching. That's not your craft. You may become good at it, but you got to get there. So just pick something that you want to do and go for it, and just stop worrying about, like, what other people are doing. What's that got to do with you? You have to focus on you. And so if you open this business to succeed, then focus on your business and how to elevate it to the next game. And that is what you should be doing. So if that guy is giving you, you know recommendations on how to improve your hustle, then pay attention to that. I'm not saying listen to everything. Listen to what serves you, and then gut check yourself. Go to that mirror and say, can I be better at this? Does my man have a point? So before you just discard the comment, does my man have a point? He may have a point, he may not. I don't even know what this guy's telling you, but nevertheless, like, it's just, I don't know, man. Getting behind the wheel, and then what? Now what? Like, what's that proving here? So you got that. You ever get your hands dirty, or is that just talk? I talked a little bit about my career before, man. I've got my hands dirty for sure. Started into this business, loading trailers and cleaning bathrooms at a warehouse during high school, man. And then it's just been trucking after that. I've delivered my share of last mile delivery. Did some line hauls between some DCs. So, and then came up in the ranks. So definitely been in all aspects of this, from owner operators to some company trucks. Actually, getting us on time. But one of the coolest things that we used to do is, like, I don't even know who's watching, but like back in the day, man, banks used to provide bank proofs. And so we would pick up the checks at banks. And so we'd have owner operators picking up these checks. And so if you ever look at a bank, it'd have to be an older bank though. On the wall would be a metal box. And in that metal box, our drivers would go up, open it, and it would be a bag. And, a lot of people thought that was cash, but it was not. It was actually processed checks. And then he would put that in his trunk into a firebox, and everybody would meet up with a line haul, and then we would take that to the airport. So man, it was pretty cool because we're in the airport as a van showed up, and we would load this small little airplane, right, like a Cessna, and we just throwing bags of processed checks from a van into this at a private airport. So anybody looking in, man, would think that that's like some kind of like shady dealing going down, and then that airplane would fly up to Connecticut to make sure that it would hit the Fed, and so that the banks could make their interest money. So I don't know, food for thought. Just answering because you asked. So that yeah. So anybody, maybe even is a owner operator now that started and knows what I'm talking about. Let me know in the comments. But those were interesting times back then. So obviously they all went to imaging, so all of that goes away. Again, you have to adapt as businesses as things change. Nothing stays the same, my people. So with that, I want to say thank you for everybody who joined us today. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe. We're trying to make sure we get this done on a daily basis. We go live with good information. Trucking does happen. However, we're committed to putting this information out there. So once again, thank you everybody. My name is Christian with Super Trucker Podcast and Voyager Nation. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and put this content in front of other truckers. All right. Be safe, my people, and we will see you mañana. All right. Have a good night.